Hey, and welcome to this week's Member Spotlight. I'm Susie. I'm the CEO at HerBusiness. And usually every Monday, we bring you an interview with one of our amazing HerBusiness Network members. However, this Monday, we were holding our annual event, HerBusiness Live, with over 320 women joining us from around the country for a whole day of networking, brainstorming, hearing from amazing world-class speakers. So that was our Monday. So here we are. It's Tuesday afternoon, and it's just on 3:30 p.m. here in Sydney. And I have an amazing guest for you. This is someone I've known for over 10 years. I don't actually know how many years it is, but we met when she was in a very different part of her life, in actually quite a different career. And I was just starting out my journey to getting back in shape, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And that's where her role came in. And so I had gone through a point of growing my business, and it was going really, really great. And on the outside, everything looked wonderful. But what was happening on the inside and on the outside was I was at my heaviest. I had the least amount of energy. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was drinking way too much at the end of the day to kind of get past the stress of the day. And I was in really bad shape. And so I had to turn things around and really reclaim my life and my body. And Nadine, who you're going to meet in just a moment, was my coach for a number of years, helping me make great gains on my physicality and my health and my fitness. But today we're talking to her about her business. And so here's a little bit about what she does. She helps women who are specifically mums, they're 35 plus, and they've got young children. And she helps them carve out time for themselves, and so that they can be the role models they really want to be for their children. And she does this through a couple of different things. She does one-on-one coaching, but she also has a membership called Create Health and Lifestyle. Please make very welcome Nadine Shaw. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me, Susie.
So good to have you here. So I've said a little bit about our background, but why don't you go ahead and tell us a little about your business?
About my business, well, it's brand spanking new. So I've been lucky enough that in the last 12 months, I've really been able to explore how to create a business, build a business. So I've really started from the ground up. What I'm really passionate about is people's health, mums especially, because I'm a mature aged mum, about how can we maintain our health long term so that we don't get to a spot like you've mentioned that you did, where you go, hang on a minute, I need to, start taking care of myself. There are a whole bunch of things that we can do every day that can support us long term, so that when we do have those ups and downs, we've always got that base to come back to. So I've really been looking at ways to build a formula, I guess, for people that they can follow and support them through the membership so that they can live a healthy lifestyle, be the role models they want to be for their small kids, and enjoy their future, have a bit of a long-term vision of where they want to be, and so that they can start working towards that, rather than, just being on that sort of hamster wheel of life.
Yeah, or being on, one fad or the other. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I know that you have a very long-term view. It's like you're going to have these children, for a long time. You're going to be a mum for a long time. You're going to be balancing schedules and pickups and all that for a long time. So how do you also take care of you while taking care of them, but feeling like you're claiming back your life? And you really look at a very holistic way to approach health and lifestyle, rather than any sort of faddish, quick fix sort of way. So thank you. I can see there's a bunch of you here joining us. If you've got questions as we go along, please let us know. Jody says she can relate. She can relate. Good. Thanks, Jody. Good. All righty. So your expertise is in finding ways to very simply integrate healthy habits into every day. Tell us who your ideal client is. Now, we've talked about mums of small children. Is there any more that you can say about that ideal client?
Well, I suppose they've obviously got to be ready to start making changes. That's an ideal. And I do find that the people I attract are mums who are professionals as well, that are working, juggling home, family, work, business. They seem to be the people that I tend to attract and help best.
Right, because, and you said you're one of those people.
I'm not one of those people, So I'm experienced it firsthand, yes.
Yeah. And so what I know Nadine's done, because I've been part of her processes, she's been saying this business, is she's gotten more and more specific about who that ideal client is and who she can help. And quite often, as it happens, is that sometimes it's our own reflection. You know, we've been there, we've walked in those shoes, so we can most help people who are most like us. What problem are women typically having when they seek you out, or when you know that you're a solution for what they need?
Oh, well, I think it's similar to, you know, when people look for a personal trainer, it's like they need, even if they know all of the things, having support and guidance and someone to, you know, experience the journey with them, pop them in the right direction, can be really valuable to have that support. So I think that is, what people are looking for. And they, you know, that being a good role model for your kids, it's like they know that they need to start taking care of themselves. And yeah, they're ready. They may have tried before. They're ready to try something different, but they are definitely looking for support and guidance and a different way.
And a different way to do it than perhaps they've tried and failed at, which can sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, you know, I've tried everything. But you take a very different sort of approach. Yeah. What sort of advice do you typically find yourself giving people that you might be able to share with the women who are watching here today? Because one of the great things, if you're watching about the spotlights, is that you don't only get to hear about a woman's business, but you also get to tap into her amazing expertise. So tell us a little bit about that advice that you typically give your clients that you might want to share with us.
So some of the things that I think people often think that they need to start out really big when they're changing their lifestyle or their health or fitness habits. And, you know, it's sometimes just not realistic for someone to join a gym and be going 3 or 4 times a week. Like, that's the information we get given. But 10,000 steps a day is a really good baseline for fitness. It's easy to, if you're conscious about doing it, it's easy to get into your everyday life. You don't need a gym. You just need some incidental movement, and tracking 10,000 steps a day is definitely a great way to keep a good baseline of health. And I am noticing more and more with the people I train, the people who have more incidental activity probably have a better baseline than those who don't. And it's the sort of thing.
Let me just ask you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's the sort of thing when you can maintain that. It doesn't matter where you are, unless it's raining. You walk around your house, I suppose.
I should tell you a funny story. One of my friends had gotten into this habit that she would walk 10,000 steps a day, and she had an Apple Watch that she was monitoring, and it was raining for days and days. And she had this big island in her home, and she was just walking around the island because she was not going to miss closing the rings on that app. When you talk about incidental exercise, can you give us a couple of examples? I mean, we've talked about walking. What else sort of falls into that category?
There's, simple things like when you're at work, taking the stairs. I know it just sounds so cliche, but taking the stairs instead of the lift, that sort of thing. Getting out in the garden. If you can't get to the gym, park a little bit further away from the shops, carry your groceries. You know, those sorts of things are all going to give you a baseline of health and movement, compared to being sedentary. And they're things that we can integrate into our everyday.
And this is very important for those who, and those of you who are used to travel to an office, so you had a commute, so you had to walk to the bus or the train or whatever, who now have lost that routine. It's about finding a way to integrate that back into your day-to-day if you find yourself having to be at home. What else? What else can you tell us?
Oh, so another thing that is, I think people's perception is changing a bit, but I still have a lot of clients come to me thinking that eating fat makes them fat. It doesn't. If you're eating the right kinds of fat, they serve your body well, and that it's actually sugar that is the problem. And because sugar's hidden in so many things, it's hidden in sauces, it's hidden in all types of food, it's, in alcohol. We can often be having a lot more sugar in our diet than we realize. And when that sugar's not used, if we're not moving enough, our body doesn't process it, and it gets stored in cells, and those cells get bigger, and that is what fat is. Okay, so it's quite simple, but fat doesn't make you fat. So I think part of the part of what I enjoy doing is educating people around these things so that they can make conscious decisions and know, in a matter of fact kind of way, this is what is happening to my body when I, do these things. For good or for bad.
I love what you're saying there, because it is so much about education. Like our world is educating people about business. Your world is educating people about health and well-being. And I, as someone who I dieted from when I was about 15, I was very conscious of food and what I was eating. And I went down quite a few paths that really weren't right for my body. And Nadine, and how I met Nadine and her husband owned the gym that I went to for many, many years. In fact, they've since sold the gym, and I still go to that gym. And part of their educating their clients was it's not just about the workouts and the exercise you're doing. 70% of it is what you're putting in your body. And you opened up and your team opened up my eyes to really wanting to study nutrition and really understand things like that. Eating fat doesn't make you fat, and the result of sugar in our diet. And again, this isn't about, it's really just becoming aware. Then you can make those choices. It's when you're making choices without being aware, because you're not educated, that you might be tripping yourself up. So a lot of it starts with education. Helen says, love it. It's sugar, not the fat, that makes you fat. So true. Okay, great.
And
Bianca
I feel like,
says,
sorry, go Bianca.
Sorry. So Bianca says that can be a challenge. 10,000 steps. I agree. It has to be a conscious effort. Having a smartwatch and help me get there almost daily. That's great. That's
really good.
Yeah, that's really good. So you were about to say something.
I just feel like so much of, what we're exposed to in terms of advertising and that sort of thing is telling us one thing. It's like, buy this, eat this, save time. And so we're getting all these messages to, consume and to move less. But we're not getting we don't get as much information about how to fix it. Unless you go on a diet or you join the gym, there's not a whole bunch of information about how to, live a balanced life. And be conscious of how those different choices might impact us.
Very good. Now I'm just looking for comments. Again, just before I go into your next point. Nadine, what is your advice on the amount of times we eat per day? I've noticed recently that twice a day is sufficient for me at the moment, but I see a lot of advice that you have to eat 3 times a day or 5 times a day sometimes,
Yes, 5 times a day. Yeah. So Bianca, I would say partly it would be dependent on how much you are moving. If you were very active, you might feel like you needed 3 meals a day. But I think that if you feel like you only need 2 meals a day and that those meals have good quality whole foods in them, then I would say that is fine. And there's more and more research going into intermittent fasting and the benefits of intermittent fasting. And that's as simple as, fasting for 16 hours from the time you eat your dinner one night and basically just skipping breakfast and not eating until lunchtime is pretty much what that 16 hours looks like. It's supposed to serve you in terms of longevity, body repair, energy, mental clarity. There's a whole bunch of research coming out about intermittent fasting and the benefits. So I would say if that is working for you, then listen to your body and if your energy levels are low, if you feel like you need more, then obviously you need to play around with it. But otherwise, I'd say if it's working for you, then stick with it.
Thank you. And Sarah's saying sugar is her downfall. I think you're not alone in that. You're not alone. Now, there's one other piece of advice that I am so excited to have you share. So I'm going to let you do that.
About sleep.
Yeah, that's the one.
Sleep is the unsung hero to our health. We basically don't get enough sleep, but it is responsible for we're made to sleep. We're made to sleep when it's dark. But because we're exposed to so much artificial light, we stay awake longer and we generally don't get as much sleep. And it's the first thing to sacrifice when things get busy. But it's really, really important for our health. There's been research that shows that a lack of sleep over a long period of time can cause cancer or increase your risk of cancer. Heart disease, diabetes, your hunger hormones get affected if you're tired. So you're more likely to feel satisfied when you eat. you're more likely to feel hunger when you are tired. So those two things together are not very good if you're tired. Anxiety, depression, they are, if you don't sleep enough, they can contribute to your poor health. So getting a minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night is your goal, and trying to get regular sleep and wake times so that your body is familiar with it, and your circadian rhythms are balanced. If you ever go to bed and you say, I always fall asleep as soon as my head hits the pillow, that generally means that you're overtired and that you've been stimulated by artificial light. You've kept yourself awake, and so your body is already ready for sleep. It should actually take about 10 or 15 minutes to wind down once you've turned the lights out, hopped into bed. It's normal to not go to sleep straight away. You're not abnormal. So sleep, everyone. Make sure you sleep.
Sleep. Bianca's saying, thank you, didn't even consider the fasting.
No
and Helen says, I've been doing 15-hour intermittent fasting, but my new trainer said it wasn't great for my age. How do we work out what to do with all this conflicting advice? Well, I'm not Nadine, but I know what I would say.
Yeah. I think you've got to go with how it feels for you. I'd be interested to know what your age is, Helen, if you don't mind me asking. There are some studies that I have to be honest, I haven't done a whole bunch of research into this, but I know that it can affect your hormones. So estrogen, progesterone production, testosterone production as well. So if you're perimenopausal, there could be some studies that say that it's bad for you. I have been playing around with it just to see what happened over the last 5 weeks. And I think it's balanced my hormone, like my mood, that mood. So I think it's play around with it. And I really like, I know you've been doing your journaling, and it's not quite the same as like what I'm referring to, but writing down some of these things, keeping a bit of a track of your energy levels, Helen. So when you do exercise, if you haven't eaten, what's it like? What are your hormonal levels like? Are you more or less moody? And then you can start to kind of go, oh, well, that was associated when I didn't eat or when I did eat, and start to get a bit of a picture of where you're at and whether it's working for you or not.
Now, Helen's 62.
Okay, so you're not perimenopausal. Oh, I don't know.
I think you really do have to just see how it goes with you.
You look in your picture, Helen.
I have been mostly paleo, as you know, for probably close to 10 years. And I've just been, and you don't even know this because we haven't spoken in a while, just over the last couple of weeks, I've tried cutting back all animal products. Just because I've had some allergies I'm trying to clear up, and I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. And so I've gone down a different school of thinking, which is not paleo, which is, fruit and veg primarily, like no dairy. And I don't know if it's going to be right for my body, but I'm just going to give it a go. And if my body's responding well, then it doesn't mean I'll just go with it for as long as it's doing the right thing. And if it helps clear up some of the allergies or whatever, then I'll stay with that. But it had to take a little bit of thinking. Like some people are like, I could never cut out sugar, or I could never cut out alcohol or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, my diet is paleo. That's what I eat. If I don't have a piece of meat, a chicken, fish at a meal, it's like I haven't eaten. I'm hungry 5 minutes later. But I find now, sort of 10 days into it, that my body's getting a little more used to it, and I will just do it. And like listening to your body, I guess that's the main point for me. Sarah said, Sarah's just saying she's 7 and salt and
Yeah, I think, just exactly. The more, just because you try something once, it doesn't mean it's not going to work another time. It might not have been the right time of your life, or, stuff's going on. But definitely, just experimenting. just trying new things, because it's not a one size fits all approach.
And it is that combination, as you said, there's a sleep, and that how that might be impacting your appetite, what you then turn to eating, and then how your body responds to that. I mean, I was a vegetarian for almost 2 years in my 20s because I was just trying to do the opposite of what anything my parents wanted. But I was eating high doses of I was eating noodles and pasta, because I didn't know what else to eat as a vegetarian, right? And lots of bread. And so that did not work for me, because gluten and I are not friends at all, and never were. And so it's just a matter of finding, but there are some core things that people like Nadine, make it their life's work to make sure that you understand, how do these things work together? She asks you smart questions like around your age and your hormones, and how your body feels when you do that, and how your body feels before and after you exercise, when you've eaten or not eaten, and then how much sleep are you getting, because that's going to impact all those things as well. And so it is about this holistic point of view to health and well-being, and not a quick fix, but rather how do you create a lifestyle that gives you the longevity and lets you enjoy life in a different way, and never feeling like you're missing out and those sorts of things.
Exactly.
All right, quick one here and we'll move on. I feel 100% better not eating animal products, more energy, feeling more balanced, and brain clarity, no fog. It even helped me recover from chronic leukemia, which I had for 14 years. Goodness, off treatment since November. Congratulations, Bianca. That's a huge win. I hope you've celebrated that. Yeah. And Helen says, thanks, Nadine. I like the idea of journaling to give some insights. Yeah. More fans for journaling. Great. Well, the two of you, you could be doing.
My room's a bit hot.
Yeah, you are a bit red. All righty.
I'm not embarrassed or anything. I'm just my room.
All right. Well, thank you. That was all really, really clear. So you've been a member of the network probably for a year now, even though we've been in for a long time. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what the value has been for you as someone who, you've been around business for a long time, but you were just starting this brand new thing. How has the network supported you?
So the thing that I've used the most is Roundtable and the Roundups. Although I've been a little bit, I've had a little bit of struggle with timing the last couple of those, but definitely in the beginning they've been really great for just building confidence and really starting to. Well, I've spent the last 12 months really figuring out what I want to do. And it's morphed and changed, and it's helped me get more clarity. So, having support and guidance through those sessions has been really good. I've met some great women who some have become clients, and I've become a client of one. So that's been really valuable. And I feel like my relationship with those people just grows, the longer I'm in the network. And as you mentioned, I did the Stu McLaren Tribe course. In fact, I haven't finished this yet. I'm kind of in the midst of it. It's something I'll keep going back to anyway, to improve and refine. But the support from the Tribe, HerBusiness group, the private group that you set up, has been invaluable in encouraging me to get started, giving me guidance and support, and being cheered on by the other members in there as well.
Yeah, so it's nice when you're doing something like where someone, the others are trying something similar to you, and we can all, commiserate and we can celebrate at the same time. All right, great. So if people want to learn a little more about how to work with you, tell us a little bit about your products and services. And while you do that, I'm going to put up your Facebook page, and we'll also post that here in the chat for people.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I will have a website soon. It's in process. But for now, I'm guiding you towards my Facebook page. And if you are interested in joining the Facebook group, there's a link in there on the page. My services. So obviously I've just started the membership, but that's closed at the moment. So I'm keeping it closed until the beginning of next year. So for the time being, I'm doing one-on-one coaching online. I do one-on-one personal training as well if you live in Bellingen.
Narrows it down a little bit.
Sorry, Louis just walked in.
Are you nearly finished?
Yeah, I'm nearly finished. Sorry. Yeah, so I one-on-one coaching online to help you sort of, figure things out and start to integrate healthy habits with guidance, asking lots of questions, finding out where you are right now, and then giving you, things to try, a plan to follow. We focus on 4 pillars of health. So we focus on moving your body, eating well, sleeping well, and reducing stress as the 4 main pillars of health. But how that looks for each person could be very different. So I guide people, and try and teach them how it can work for them.
I love that. So we're going to put that link to the Facebook page. You can link to the group from that. On the page, there's also a quiz that Nadine has put together, and it's about knowing your keystone habit. Can you tell us quickly about that?
Oh, hang on. Can you give me 5 minutes, please? Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Keep watching.
Not yet. 5 minutes to go. Big hand is not on the 12 yet.
The keystone habit quiz. So the 4 pillars of health, as I mentioned: move your body, eat well, sleep well, and reduce stress. We often find that there's one keystone habit that is like the answer to your prayers. So, for example, I had a client the other day who said that she wanted to, her focus was on moving her body. Like when we talked, I was like, what do you want your goals to be for this month? And she said, I want to integrate more exercise. When she filled in the quiz, sleep was her keystone habit. And she had identified to me when we'd been talking that she, her energy levels were low, and that she would like to get more sleep. However, that wasn't what she wanted to work on. But so I think that keystone habit can often uncover, the missing link sometimes. You might think I need to exercise, but actually you're not eating well, so you're not energized, or you're not getting enough sleep. And so you're going to be more motivated to exercise if you have got good sleep. Or exercise might be your keystone habit. And, when you're exercising, you're more motivated to eat well. It reduces your stress and you sleep better. So and so
I love how interconnected it all is. That's great.
Yeah.
Great. And Bianca saying she loves the pillars. Yeah, great. Good. So that's the quiz. We've put the link here. If you're watching the replay, then just look around here where we've put this video and you'll see a link through. Now, the link is to the Facebook page, but you'll see that top post there. I think it's the pinned post is the quiz. So you want to go ahead and do that. Nadine, thank you so much. You've been awesome.
Thank
what
you.
would you like to leave us with?
Just, I don't know, all of the things. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Because, my ultimate message is that we work hard. We deserve to, journey through life and not get to a point where we become sick because we've worked too hard and we haven't taken care of ourselves. That if we do all of these things to take care of ourselves now, we're going to reap the rewards of our labors later in life.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was great. Thank you, says Bianca. I agree.
Oh, thanks, Bianca.
Thank you so much.
It's great to see you, Susie.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, darling. That was Nadine Shaw. Please go ahead and check out her quiz and get yourself in line for her membership. Creating Health and Lifestyle is what she is all about. You'll find all the details over on her Facebook page. That is this week's Member Spotlight. We have amazing members in our community, women in online businesses, offline businesses, a mixture, just starting out, been in business 20-something years. And what I love about the community is that all those women are finally creating the business and life that they love. They're finally creating profitable businesses that give them the impact and the results that they want, because they're putting in place key foundational things in their business. They're putting in place sales and marketing systems. They're putting in place plans. They're putting in place systems, technology, people, and really also taking care of themselves. So we mentioned a lot about taking care of yourself today. Part of the reason that Nadine is our guest today is that all through this month, we are looking at what we call the You Growth Zone. And this is about taking care of you, because you are the biggest asset in your business. You need to take care of you, otherwise nothing happens. And so that means your mindset, your physical well-being, your emotional well-being. And so we are right now inside of our community, we are journaling for 30 days, exploring things that we want to improve, whether it's our confidence or our mindset or some habits that we want to change. And it could be sleep habits. It could be what we're putting into our bodies. It could be how we're relating to people. And so inside of Her Business is a pathway for you to not only have the business you love, but also to be able to support that by taking care of yourself. I want to thank you all for showing up and watching. I want to thank Nadine for being my guest here today. We'll see you back next week for next week's Member Spotlight. Thank you so much. Bye for now.